When we think about the best-selling phones, what comes to mind are the iPhones and the S-series phones from Samsung. But you'll be surprised to know that it is actually the Samsung A14 5G, followed closely by the Moto G Stylus, that are selling like pancakes these days. They're both under $200 as of the time of this video. But which one is worth getting? Let's find out. Starting with the design. The Samsung A14 is very much like that old friend who hasn't changed much over the years. It's got a plastic build that's surprisingly well built, and it has large bezels for today's standards. Surprisingly, the 2023 redesign of the A14 made it look as if it's part of the more expensive S series. On the flip side, the Moto G Stylus struts in with a plastic build too, but it has a stylus which is tucked in like a secret weapon. It's got a bit more of a premium feel compared to the A14. It even has an IP52 rating which guarantees that it'll be safe in light rainfall and whatnot. Next up is the screen. The A14 flashes a 6.5-inch PLS LCD screen with a 1080 by 2408 resolution. On top of that, it has a 90Hz adaptive refresh rate. Now, PLS might be a new term for a lot of you, but all you need to know is that it's cheaper, 15% brighter, and just as color accurate as the IPS. Now, the Moto G Stylus has a larger 6.8-inch 2460 by 1080 resolution with a faster 120Hz refresh rate. Of course, the bigger display is a plus for some people, especially those who are looking forward to using the stylus. And it is technically better. But I would also recommend the A14 for people who want a phone with a higher pixel density that won't make a peculiar rectangular bulge on their pants. Now let's talk about performance. The A14 packs the MediaTek Dimensity 700 processor, which is like the dependable gets the job done kind of chip. It'll keep your apps running without breaking a sweat, but with a lackluster 4 gigs of RAM, I doubt it'll keep a ton of apps running at the same time. The Moto G Stylus, on the other hand, waltzes in with a MediaTek Dimensity 930 and anywhere from 6 gigs to 8 gigs of RAM. Either way, it makes multitasking much smoother. And of course, both phones come with 5G, so surfing on the web is no sweat wherever you go. Now, based on benchmarks, the Dimensity 930 on the G Stylus is a bit more powerful and power efficient. So if you're looking for something to handle your apps a bit better, the G Stylus might be for you. Just make sure to remove all the bloatware that Motorola put on this phone. Furthermore, both phones come with Android 13. But with less bloatware and a promise of 2 OS updates from Samsung, this does make the A14 a bit more future-proof and reliable right out of the box. Both phones sport similar displays and similar chip efficiency. And both phones also have a 5000 mAh battery, which is like having a pocket-sized power station. So the A14 will have you cruising through up to almost 2 full days of use. And of course, the same can be said with the G Stylus. So wherever you go with the A14 or the G Stylus, I think it's safe to say that you can expect similar battery performance. And lastly, the cameras. The Samsung A14 has a 50 megapixel main camera. It's not going to compete with the paparazzi's gear, but Samsung's reputation on cameras stays true on the A14 since it can take crispy shots for your socials. The same can be said with the 13 megapixel selfie camera. Now, turning our lens to the G Stylus, we have a similar 50 megapixel main sensor, but what sets them aside is the 8 megapixel ultra-wide sensor on the G Stylus that is arguably more useful than the depth sensor and macro camera on the A14, which honestly is practically useless. So for the camera, the G Stylus performs a bit better. So which one would you buy? If you're all about the practical life and you just want a phone that will perform for a couple of years, then I recommend the Samsung A14. But if you fancy a bit of flair and want a device that's a jack of all trades with a creative twist, the Moto G Stylus might be the better phone for you. Now, I just want to let you know that the G Stylus usually comes at a higher price point. But if you act now, it's still on sale for Black Friday on Amazon. Just scan these QR codes or click the links in the description below to get to the listings. And there you have it. Give us your thoughts below and please consider subscribing for more tech videos just like this one. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.